Nestled in the beautiful Sonoran Desert foothills of North Scottsdale, Arizona, is the site of a singularly unique luxury home project. Designed by world-renowned architectural designer Bob Bacon, this home is the culmination of decades of Bacon's experience designing exceptional luxury homes in this beautiful and fragile desert environment. It is to be Bacon's homage to early modernism, and a tribute to the humanism, as he calls it, that is often missing in many of today's modern designs. The Bacon House at Desert Mountain was born out of a conversation between Bob Bacon and a longtime friend and partner on a previous project, Jim Eichard.
2 years ago, Bob and I were talking about the state of the real estate market in the Phoenix, Scottsdale metropolitan area. And we noticed how popular modern homes or modern design homes were becoming.
Bacon had also noticed this trend, but was getting requests for modern design with more warmth, as many clients perceive modernism as a strictly minimalist style. Often, they did not feel such designs had that elusive warmth and comfort they wanted in a home.
There are many advantages to modernism. Modernism is not a style. Modernism is a way of thinking, it's an approach. The modern approach to design is a problem-solving approach. I try to elevate my problem-solving to the level of art. There is nothing inherently unartful about minimalist architecture. Some of it is absolutely stunning. Not necessarily comfortable to live in if you're a nester.
Bacon wanted to bring the warmth and human scale of early modernism to this unique project. Having spent much of his career focused on the humanistic and contextual aspects of architecture, he wanted to bring the full richness of that experience to the design of the Bacon House at Desert Mountain.
The Bacon House at Desert Mountain is an homage to early modernism. Why? Early modernism, and the reason I am attracted to early modernism, is that it had a humanness that we have since lost. The minimalism that was brought over in the international style from Europe later evolved into the Bauhaus style, again from Europe, but Walter Gropius and his cohorts stripped the ornament, simplified the profiles, simplified the shapes of space to great advantage in some respects, but in the process stripped it of human scale.
Besides the over 200 beautiful custom luxury homes Bob has designed, he is perhaps most well known in the Southwest for 3 hospitality projects he designed in the Scottsdale Carefree area. The first was the Boulders Resort, which was one of Bacon's earliest projects that incorporated his principles of contextualism and minimum visual impact to designing in visually fragile environments. His inspiration for this approach to design came at an early age with his first trip to the Grand Canyon.
I was struck on my first visit to the Grand Canyon when I was probably 10 by the buildings there. I didn't learn until many years later that they were actually designed. They look so natural. I couldn't conceive that they were designed. They were in fact designed by one of my heroes, Mary Jane Coulter, and she did a lot of work for the Harvey companies in hospitality. And I did a hotel project at the base of a very iconic boulder outcropping in North Scottsdale called aptly the Boulders. And my aim there was to make the buildings disappear so that people could experience the beauty of this natural feature. And there's a direct link between my approach to that project's contextualism, to Mary Jane Coulter, and what she did.
Immediately following the Boulders Resort, in 1985, Bacon was commissioned to plan and design a large resort and conference center in North Scottsdale. Hidden behind the Central Arizona Project Canal flood control berm, this was a different site altogether. Unlike the contextualism behind the boulders, the success of the Princess would depend almost exclusively on his design principles and humanism. The third example came in working with Lyle Anderson, the developer of Desert Mountain, to come up with a design not only for some of the public structures in Desert Mountain, but for the signature Cochise Geronimo Golf Clubhouse.
So I met Lyle, and we really hit it off. We understood each other. Both of us had visions of community and aspirations of quality that were unusually broad. I made it clear to Lyle that whatever we did there was going to impose a minimum visual impact on what I considered to be a visually fragile environment.
It is the sensitivity to the humanistic impacts of his work, including human scale, that often sets Bob Bacon's work apart from many other designers.
I realized that one of the things that I brought to my work that may be different than a lot of other work produced by my contemporaries is this concern for humanism. The built environment is built for humans. So to ignore human nature, to ignore those things that make us human. A lot of modern architecture that doesn't respect the humanism is, to me, maybe not as complete a solution as it could be.
Bacon began to envision a home that would epitomize the distinctive warmth and tactile humanism that he admired as the hallmark of early modernism, while also exemplifying the principles of contextualism that he had steadily refined throughout his career. So when presented by Jim Eichard with the opportunity and creative freedom to design a speculative luxury home in the renowned golf community of Desert Mountain, Bacon's visions were manifest as the Bacon House at Desert Mountain. His partner, Jim, recognized the benefit of giving Bob the space to create something truly special.
Once we agreed on the general parameters of the house, the size, the general room configuration, it was important that we just leave Bob alone. We wanted to see what Bob could do without outside distractions and influences like developers, bankers, real estate agents. And I think what Bob has come up with the Bacon House, is a true masterpiece.
So having that trust was really important in enabling me to create what I consider an uncompromised design. And I had enough time before any groundbreaking to really resolve nearly everything about that home and its site without compromise. I mean, this project is a capstone, so to speak. It showcases everything I've learned in the past 60 years of designing. I mean, all of the things that have been important to me and grown in importance as I've gained experience, all of these things have been able to come together in this design.
Every living space in the Bacon House is defined not only by the surfaces of its enclosure, but by the qualities and movement of its light, one of life's most profound animating forces. Though always a central and expressive medium of his design palette, in this home, Bacon artfully exploits the phenomenon of light to the fullest. His approach to lighting brings a comfortable luminosity to the space in ways that are unexpected.
What I'm doing is creating an experience that's very unusual by using light. Floor surfaces are normally opaque. You expect walls to have windows in them or areas of glass, so you expect transparency to be in vertical surfaces. And borrowing light through what are normally opaque surfaces is very refreshing. I use a lot of glass in interior doors, for example. It may be obscure glass or it may be a white glass, but it allows for light to come through that opening when the door is closed. In the case of the floors, this allowed me to borrow light from the outside through high clear-story windows or through the central atrium, borrow it through that floor and light the spaces below. The Bacon House has a recreation room and a bar and wine room, etc., below its great room. And to ensure that that space was just as comfortable in terms of space and lighting, I used this device to backlight the space. There are windows in the space that look to the south and allow light in, but these are simply natural lighting devices.
A fundamental premise of Bob Bacon's residential design work is that the purpose of every object and space is to better enable or facilitate the lives of those who use it. Living involves a countless number of energetically diverse activities.
So it's important to design spaces with the kinds of scale and flexibility to accommodate all levels of activity, and in the case of a luxury custom home, also accommodate various levels and types of entertainment. The Bacon House has that flexibility. It has an openness both to the outdoors and within that allows for free movement of people to gather in different sized groups, to sit, to stand. All of those activity levels, all of those things that we do in our lives, is just a variety of needs that we have as humans. And I think a good home provides for all of those things. Comfort, to me, is a physical thing, and ergonomics and convenience. Those are two things that are important to providing comfort. I like my homes to also provide well-being. Well-being is a mental thing, a sense of security, a sense of privacy. That's where intimacy and spaces that lend themselves to quiet contemplation versus spaces that lend themselves well to entertainment. Providing for those emotional, mental aspects of well-being is important. It's not just comfort.
Renowned for his comprehensive yet detailed approach to environmental design, in the Bacon House at Desert Mountain, Bacon again demonstrates his relentless attention to the smallest of details in every aspect of the home's siting, organization, function, comfort, and aesthetics.
Because everything contributes to the whole. Everything, every edge, every surface, the sheen of that surface, everything contributes to the ambiance, character, and depth of one's experience in the space. And let me be really esoteric for a second and say that I think when we experience a space that has some mystery, that evokes something that is uniquely human, and our curiosity wants us to know more about that. If we can then explain those unknowns, add additional depth and dimension to the experience, that enriches the lives of the people who own it, the people who use it, and the people who visit it. That's my aim, to enrich everyone's lives through what we do. And the Bacon House, I hope, is an example of how I do that.
The Bacon House at Desert Mountain is quite simply a seminal example of Bacon's mastery of space, light, and graphic composition, coupled with an apparent innate sense of the memorable effects that these additional dimensions can have on the human spirit, and with the promise of an experience that adds a level of richness and meaning to his creation that is difficult to describe and impossible to deny.
I'm Davis Driver, and I'm the listing agent for the Bacon House at Desert Mountain. This is a spectacular site for what we're going to be creating. On behalf of the entire development team, design team, and the marketing team, I'd like to thank you for your time today and invite you to call me or text me if you have any further questions. My phone number is 602-399-0116. You can always email me at davis@davisdriver.com. And as a last reminder, the website for the project is thebaconhouse.com. Thank you again for your time. We certainly hope to meet you soon. Have a great day.